Hello again, and welcome to episode 19 of the Rusty Quill Gaming Podcast. I'm your host and GM, Alex Newall, in London, as always, and with me again is...
James Ross,
Bryn Monroe,
Ben Meredith,
Lydia Nicholas.
And who are you playing?
Oh, it's back to me. Oh, this is just an order. I'm not really used to this. Okay, I'm playing Sasha Racket, and she's fine.
Zolf Smith, who is not going to tell you about his backstory.
Hamid, the halfling sorcerer.
Sir Bertrand MacGuffingham, the best one.
Yes.
Well, if you listen to our fans, yes.
Yep.
Hey, everyone will get a moment to shine. If you chose to be a roaming id, you would get the attention too.
You missed 3 letters off of that last word.
So, before we start, I want to give a quick shout out to Paul. You know who you are. Thanks loads for the assets that you sort of chucked my way. Effectively what it is...
You're being vague enough that I'm going to assume that it's something really dirty.
Nah, I'm going to follow it up. You ready? Right. Currently, we've been telling everyone about the SRD, the online system reference document, which is free because it's open source gaming system. There's a paid version, which is very, very cheap, available for iPad, which is called PFRPGRD, which is the same thing. It's just available offline, which helps because we have to turn, obviously, Wi-Fi off and things like that when it comes to the recording equipment. And it also allows me to do things quicker and organise things. It has sped up the process for prepping, certainly, a lot for me, and certainly it will be doing in this session. Also, he put me onto some other fun programs called iCrit and iFumble, which instead of just leaving it as a big wishy-washy, oh, you do extra damage, no. If I so choose, we can have it so that it generates really awful effects instead. You know, remember when I once said when Hamid mucked up his magic and you were like, shouldn't something bad happen? And I went, yeah, I'll let him off this time. Not anymore. Oh no, now I've got all of the tools I need to ruin your days.
Yay.
It's cool. I'm pretty sure I've rolled my full quota of 1s for this campaign.
I think we all have.
So, quick recap, obviously, everything with the simulacrum. You guys are now investigating the scrapbook which was found after your first investigation. It led you via Beaming Gussit's Emporium, let's call it. And after a brief stint of Zolf definitely not sharing anything, but discovering there was some true adamantine from that metal shard, you decided to head off to the British Museum to chase up the origami swan.
Wherein a powerful visual metaphor for the decline of Bertie's dynasty through incompetence. An artifact of previous glory was knocked over, blasting a massive hole in the wall and creating a lot of chaos and now probably some violence.
Ooh, it's so exciting.
It was knocked over by Bertie's only artifact, which is an incompetent dog.
Incompetent both figuratively and literally.
He's your only bit of booty.
Yeah, oh god, he is as well.
You better protect him.
Yeah.
So, we'll pick up where we left off. The curator had just run outside. You guys were dashing to just get out of the immediate area. And as that swirling cloud of sort of grey-blue mist starts expanding and expanding from that broken vase, or vase, I know I'm going to keep doing that. We have US listeners. They get very annoyed at me. And as it expands and expands and expands, it starts to coalesce suddenly into 4 distinct forms.
No, like a square.
Did we
triangle.
release those French bandits from that thing?
4 skeletons. The first one that forms has a glowing crown hovering above its head in blue flame. It still has the tatters of clothes upon him. What looks like was once a bandolier has slumped and is empty, but he wields one in each hand a scimitar. Then 3 other skeletons appear, again coalescing from the dust, dotted out, and they are wielding broadswords. Now, of these, the lead skeleton, let's call it, the one with the crown, immediately places itself and takes stock of its surroundings, as do the other 3. And we will enter initiative order.
Yay.
So, the first thing that you guys will notice as well is that the explosion appears to have blocked off one of the side entrances from the room, so there is only one way in, one way out, the way which the curator legged it. So to reiterate, in the middle we have an enormous tank full of flesh golem. To the left, a crystal of Banshee which appears unbroken, and one hopes it stays that way. To the right are the statue of Everard. At the back is one of the staves which has been knocked over along with a bigger display, and what was the vase is now long gone. And a weapons rack near where Sasha and Zolf are currently loitering. Hamid's nearest the statue, and Bertie is probably nearest the Banshee. So, without further ado, the first skeleton charges Sasha.
No.
It takes a swing with a broken scimitar and misses formidably. That's its turn. Then, Hamid, you're up.
Hamid backs off behind Zolf and casts magic missile at the skeleton in front of Sasha.
Yep.
And does 3 damage.
3 damage.
D4s feel so pathetic to roll.
Yeah.
There's just no weight or noise to them.
No.
Okay.
Then
Then
you want out of a hammer.
the king skeleton. We'll call him the king skeleton. You have no more context than that. The guy with a floating crown above his head is not that big a leap. Surveys the situation, seems significantly more intelligent than the others, which are just a bit like. Whereas that was my skeletal. I'm glad you liked it.
You're down the head!
I'll get you, He-Man! So the larger skeleton king creature, wielding its 2 scimitars, looks around, looks left, looks right, and then just straight out charges Bertie. Then it takes a double slash at Bertie.
Ooh.
Now, gets critical.
Does it confirm it?
What's your AC, Bertie?
20.
20.
Yeah.
Doesn't confirm, but it does get a hit. Dealing 4, and then the second attack does not hit. So it gets 1 attack hit that does 4 damage.
Okay, so I'm now down to 19 health points.
Yep.
A lot of us would like to stop.
It takes the attack and then opens its mouth and goes.
You're going to
At
really
you.
enjoy editing.
Oh, it's going to be great. I'm going to hate myself so much.
Hearing that through all the different mics at the same time.
Oh, yes. At which point, the second skeleton in order makes a dash for Brutor.
No, Brutor! Does Brutor notice?
We'll see. And probably doesn't hit. Let's see.
What is a dog's AC?
Does not hit.
Ah.
Does not hit.
Well, it's a small creature, so
Ah,
it
it's
won't be
got high.
terrible. It'll have some dex.
Mm-hmm. At which point, the other skeleton takes its
How
attack.
badly did we all roll?
Pretty
Well,
bad.
I was fine.
It takes a swing at Zolf.
Cool.
Your AC is also high, isn't it?
18.
Misses. So, Sasha, you're up.
I stabbed the dude that stabbed me twice.
Make your attacks,
Okay.
and
With
you get both of them because you're not moving. And yeah, go for it.
Okay, first one. 2!
That's a miss, but not a
That's
fumble.
miss, right? 18.
18. 18 is a hit.
Yay! But then I roll my meager D4 minus 1. Naught. I do naught damage. I do nothing. I do 1 minus 1.
Well, it's obvious though. I mean, what happens is, Sasha goes, an enemy. I'll get it in the liver.
Yeah, try to go
Or the
in-
kidneys.
Yeah.
Oh, what's happening?
I get one of them in a really nice practiced angle right under the ribs.
And do nothing at all.
Under the ribs.
Lovely little xylophone sound.
The thigh bone's connected to the...
Follow that thought because it's your turn.
Right, so Bertie is facing off against King Skeleton.
That's the one.
Who's just made what noise? Right back in his face. Direct eye contact with him during that. And then Bertie swings his magic sword.
Yep.
And
To draw
Does he
it
dance the
first.
magic
Go
dance?
first.
You will have to draw it first, so you will be basically provoking an attack of opportunity by virtue of drawing.
Well, I have no real choice about that, do I?
No,
You could not draw.
that's
And
much
do
worse.
what?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think he
Oh,
Essentially.
there's no better choice. That's not what you asked. You
I
said
will-
there was no
yeah,
other
that's
choice.
fine. I will draw my magic sword.
Yep, that's fine. It decides to take the attack of opportunity and does not hit.
Cool. So magic sword, and I swing it. Roll.
Yep.
That is 11. My attack bonus is 7 with the bastard sword. So that's 18.
That's
18
really good.
is a hit.
Lovely. What do I roll now?
D10, is it?
D10 plus 4 for damage.
There you go.
Whoa.
Yeah, that's...
6.
Yay!
Okay.
So 10 total.
Oh, yes, 10 total.
Yes.
Nice
That is a
little
killing
fighter.
machine.
Ah,
Yeah, it's like
made of murder.
pretty much.
The skeleton goes as you hit it.
Bertie's apparently playing Simon with the skeleton.
Zolf, you're up.
Okay.
In a nice small room where you don't have to run everywhere to get involved.
Yes. I'm going to take a 5-foot step here.
Ooh, 5-foot step between the two skeletons.
Yes, basically because it gives Sasha more of an opportunity to flank someone if she wants to.
Wise.
And then I'm going to prod the one nearest Hamid and give it scurvy.
Now, can you read for me the description of scurvy?
So, it's a touched attack. They get a saving throw with 4 negates it. And it's got spell resistance, so... target contracts advanced scurvy, constantly fatigued, and this is an important bit, suffers from bone pain. So I don't know if this will be any worse for skeletons.
See, now what I'm looking up is quite literally whether this affects skeletons, and if it does, if it affects them worse or better.
That's -1 to strength and dex-based checks. Wounds easily, +1 damage to any bleed effects on target. Lose teeth.
That's going to look really stupid on a
That
skeleton.
is going to look really dumb. And slow to heal.
Okay.
So, yes,
I'll just-
I don't need to roll.
Can you read me the technical stats? Because it may be immune to this.
Cost 1 standard action, range, touch, target living creature, touched, living.
Living.
There you go.
Yeah.
Oh no!
Oh, so you can't.
It has to be a living creature.
Can't give a skeleton scurvy.
This is not a living creature.
So yeah, looking it up, it's not a living creature because it's a skeleton, and skeletons aren't living as much as you want them to be, and that would be terrifying. So no, you cannot give a skeleton scurvy. That's your fun fact for the day.
Yeah.
I heard that we all have a spooky skeleton inside us.
It's a myth. It's a myth. I will allow you to not have used that spell for the simple reason that I would hope that a trained cleric
Yeah, it's
would
probably-
know that they
that is
can't
probably
give
true.
a dead thing
That is
a
probably
disease.
true. Okay, fine. Then I'm going to... No, actually. Burning Disarm.
Burning disarm.
That's the one with the broken scimitar, right?
Okay.
Yeah, the target's held metal items. So it doesn't have to be a living creature. Yeah, range is range. Duration instant, saving throw, reflex negates.
Okay. So let's do that save and see how it goes. Really well. Amazingly well. So yeah, the skeleton, the item in his hand glows first red, then white hot in a flash, and you see a
Cool.
coming from its hand.
So it takes 2d4 damage?
Yep.
Because my cast level is 2, right? Because I'm level 2. 4 damage.
And it takes the 4 damage. So what happens is it goes. You see it almost like let go and then hold on, which was clearly a mistake. It holds on, and then its whole hand just bursts aflame. The flame leaps up the arm, accelerated as if the magic's having some kind of an effect. And as you hear it, basically the arm explodes and takes the rest of the skeleton with it, and it just collapses into a pile of dust.
Wow.
And I'll use my free action to say, fire hurts them!
I hate to spoil the party, but don't you take attacks of opportunity for casting in their threat range?
Sure.
Yes.
Do
There would
I?
have been 2 attacks whilst you did that.
Fine.
Which let's say that they'll take because I'm that guy.
You could cast defensively.
That's a miss.
I've got
Rely
18
on your
AC.
armor.
And another miss, so it's utterly irrelevant.
Cool.
We played it by the numbers, and you still annihilated one of them with a
Because that's
disarm.
how clerics do.
Good move. Good move. We like that move. Brutal. Brutal.
Perception check.
There's no
Brutal.
No, he loves bones.
He's
gonna
going to
work.
the enemy is
He's
made
gonna be
of
like,
bones.
You know what?
Take the bone.
Yep, for the first time, I will
Delivery
allow
service.
Brutal an attack.
Right?
The attack fails.
And no one is surprised.
Brutal notices a skeleton goes, ooh, well, then goes to bite and just misses because Brutal's really slow and is misnamed. Okay, Hamid, you're up.
I cast Magic Missile again. This time I cast Magic Missile at the skeleton in front of Zolf.
Mm-hmm.
And I do 4 damage.
4 damage. So you fire it off, and let's say you capture it right in the midriff. The vertebra snap, and it separates itself in 2. And as it separates, the 2 parts start burning away with a sort of black flame, leaving only dust. Okay,
We're doing well, guys. I'm scared.
the head skeleton now takes another double attack at Bertie. Misses against the ridiculous
AC
AC, and misses again. Oh, ching, 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 ching. Just cannot get through that armor no matter how hard it tries.
Falcons are good for something.
Yeah.
The remaining skeleton that is not a king takes another attack at Brutor.
That's cool. That's what his job is, guys. To draw the attention away
Hits.
from us.
Brutal!
Animal cruelty. Monsters.
Dealing
This is good. Brutal makes a noise that we can all imitate. So
Yeah.
any of us can play Brutal.
Yeah. We are
Okay.
all brutal.
In many ways, this is
I'm brutal!
simply the nemesis that comes after his hubris for playing with the staff in the first place.
dealing 5 damage against Brutal.
Oh, little
Pretty
brutal!
grim for such a small creature.
Yeah, Brutal is not unconscious, but Brutal looks messed up, ladies and gentlemen. Messed up. Sasha, you're up. You've currently heard a.
If I go around the back of that skeleton, and am I flanking him?
Yes, you
Yes,
are.
you are.
You wouldn't get both attacks,
Yeah, I'll
but
get
you would
one
get the
though.
sneak attack.
Cool. Gonna do that.
Yep, bish bash bosh.
So I roll to hit. 14.
Just misses.
Oh!
Just misses. Again, you're just really thrown by bits that you would attack are missing.
I avoid bones.
+2.
Instinctively.
+2 for flanking.
Oh.
Oh, Bryn saves you the day.
Sin.
That's a hit.
Yay!
So that's that plus. It's a D6.
So then I do a D6,
D6 plus
plus
a
a D4. And the D4 is -1, but the D6 is +1. So
Yes.
6.
Yeah. As the sound of Brutal going.
Thank you, Bryn.
Sasha, quick as lightning, dashes across, and having learned her lesson this time, what would you attack? What would Sasha do?
She'd just go for it. She'd slip it between the sort of vertebra, I
Just
think.
unzip.
So he's in halves.
Yeah, and
basically.
again, those 2 halves, they just burn away. There is now only King Skeleton left of the enemies. Bertie, you're up.
Bertie is going to have a power attack on the King Skeleton.
Very well.
So-
At which point, the skeleton's special ability goes off. It gets a free attack of opportunity on Bertie,
Because I made a power attack.
because you made an attack at all.
Oh!
Da 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 da.
Yeah.
It's probably the miss.
It misses on, but because of its special ability, it gets both with both scimitars. It's a very specific creature, and hits
Oh my goodness.
about time. Right. So
Only took what, 6 attacks?
it deals 8 damage.
You're fine.
Down to 11.
Yeah, basically, Bertie winds up for his
Welcome
power attack.
to my level.
Bertie winds up for his power attack, and the skeleton, seeing its opportunity, an evil glint comes into its flaming eyes, and with crown slightly askew, it makes a quick jab that leaps beneath the armor, in beneath the armpit, and nicks the underarm. You
If I
feel
want my
the warmth of
underarms,
blood.
if I want my underarms shaving, I'll let you know.
Now you may take your power attack.
Right. So D20,
Yep, the attack.
7 plus attack bonus of 6.
Yep.
You do
13.
not hit.
Da da.
So, Zolf, you're up. Bertie's bleeding, like actually bleeding.
Goodness gracious me. I'm going to take a double move towards the skeleton man. 1, 2, that's one move. 3, there you go.
You've got a range of 10 foot.
You've got a reach weapon, mate. You could move and attack.
Oh, okay, cool. So that will count as flanking because I can.
Yep.
Okay. Oh, Bryn. I'll do that then. Thanks,
Cool,
Bryn.
and get your +2 to hit, which Bryn was very kind to remind us all of.
That's 18.
Okay,
No,
that is
it's
a.
not.
But
You've
you
got
have an attack
Two.
bonus, surely.
and the flanking bonus, so it's 20.
Oh, and, okay, so it's 20.
Yeah, that's
so
a
with
hit.
The flanking.
That's a hit.
Okay, cool. And that is 1d8. 7 damage.
Nice.
7 damage.
7 plus 1, presumably.
Yes, because plus strength. God, put things on your character sheet then.
So you attack the skeleton. You jab it in the back.
So I
fairly
just
strong.
put it in its ribcage and wiggle it around.
Yep, that's the one. The skeleton goes. Drops both its scimitars.
Ah. Did I just tickle it? Like, oh, stop! Oh.
Oh, the inside of my ribs, it's so tickling. Brutal proceeds to flee and cower beneath Everard's statue, having taken a blow.
Thinking it's Bertie.
Yeah.
Definitely. Hamid, you're up.
I cast Magic Missile! I bet that's a surprise to everyone. It's all I've done the entire combat. There's only one remaining enemy, which is the Skeleton King. It's on the other side of the room, but Magic Missile is unerring, and I do 5 whole damage.
That's a lot of damage.
Not bad.
You blast the skeleton from the side. It loses half of its rib cage but it's still just staggering around. It now is wielding no weapons, is missing half of its ribcage. It quite literally looks one blow away from being completely annihilated, but it has one turn left. The remaining skeleton, angry, annoyed, enraged. It takes a final swing. But what's this? It takes a 5-foot step and takes the swing at Hamid. That's not
Zolf.
Hamid. Takes a 5-foot step and takes the swing at Zolf.
I mean, it's a dwarf in a horned helmet. I don't know how that looks like a sorceress banker.
So,
What's it swinging with? It dropped its weapons.
It's nutting me with the crown.
it now gets 2 claw attacks. It takes its first claw attack. And misses. It takes its next claw attack. And then it activates its surge ability, allowing it an additional 6, definitely hitting Zolf.
Cool.
It deals a formidable, not that formidable, 1 + 2 damage. Zolf takes 3 damage and the skeleton, knowing the end is near, goes...
Which is skeleton, but this is frustrating.
Curse you!
I am quite annoyed!
Sasha, you're up.
Dash around the back and stab him in the non-existent kidneys.
Go to there and
Yep.
you'll be flanking.
And you get your flanking bonus again, so again, you get the 1 attack plus your sneak attack damage. You get your -1 and your +1, which will cancel one another out.
So I do a hit.
That's a no.
That's a no.
I know the maths.
Oh.
That's a no.
6 + 4 + 2.
Bertie, you're up.
You just take a 5-foot step.
Take a 5-foot step. Am I also flanking him
Yes,
now?
you are.
Yes,
He's-
okay.
To spell out for listeners, because we've been talking a bit and not necessarily spelling out, we now have this mythic skeleton with Sasha behind it on one side, Zolf facing it down, Bertie behind to the right. It's looking very, very bad for the...
Hamid is safely out of the way, casting magic missile from across the room.
Okay, cool. Bertie, what do you do?
Bertie is going to make a power attack on the back of this skeleton.
Yep, go for it.
Oh, 1.
Oh, that's really bad. That's
Now,
really bad that we're both here as
we
well.
get to finally play with my new
This is
fumble
the point
toy.
at which, like, we're doing really well, and then you just straight up dissect one of us.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah, we're gonna get about like 3 ones in a row now. This is how
Yeah.
it always plays out.
Oh, it's got a little sword fighty noise.
You take a -1 penalty on all attack rolls until you score a critical hit. For this combat.
Oh, right. Okay.
Okay.
And how
A
does
lot
that?
less
How does that
damaging than I thought.
occur narratively?
Narratively, what happens is you take your huge swing at the skeleton, you miss, it reaches out with its hand and basically scratches at your inner gauntlet, causing it to lock as it catches one of the straps. So now your hand is locked at a kind of really, really abrupt wrist angle, making it really difficult for you to basically wield your sword
Like
until
a
you take...
T-Rex
Yeah.
trying to use a typewriter.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a very specific reference, but yes.
Okay.
And it will remain that way until the end of the combat, at which point you can sort of undo that strap and sort yourself out.
Right.
I'm gonna prod him with my trident, as is my tradition. That is 13, 14, 15, 16,
It
17.
activates before that damage resolves itself. Its special ability to
Ah,
attack you
yes,
because
of
you're
course.
attacking. With a miss. And a second miss. It takes 2 big claws and then realizes too late, because it's a skeleton and they're not sharp, that there's a massive trident between it and you, and that it can do that as much as you want. Your
Fending.
trident's massive.
That's fair.
So your attack resolved to
17.
17. Hit.
Lovely. That is another 5 damage.
You have managed to kill the skeleton. How would you like to say that went down?
Again, put it in the ribcage and spin the trident, just kind of flinging it across the room. And just goes boom!
So its limbs sort of spin
Confetti.
outwards like it's doing
It's
a
like a
star jump.
pinwheel, yeah.
So we'll say you're trying to jab in, and one prong between 3 different ribs, and you share, your eyes lock for one moment, and the skeleton goes, shakes his head a little bit. Zolf with his little squint twists the trident. The skeleton's thrown off its legs. Its limbs already weakened, fly off in all directions, and it literally explodes into bone-like confetti that burns away into dust.
None of which hit anything like the Banshee and the Flesh Golem hard enough to do anything right.
Hitting the tank in the middle, which cracks.
Ugh.
And water starts gushing out. And at that, we'll take a break. And we'll get back to this in a couple of minutes.
Hello? Hello? Oh, I sit there. And talking to this? This Right. Good. That is odd. Yes. And you, bring me a whiskey. With rum in it. Yeah, lovely. Yes, so, good evening, peasants. I am Sir Bertrand MacGuffingham. Now, I've been told the tales of my feats of heroism, adventure, and utterly selfless daring-do were spreading far and wide, arcing across the sky like lightning, rending the heavens in twain with their magnitude and ploughing into people's ears like a plough made of me being splendid. Now, the important thing is that I'm excellent, and everyone should know just how excellent I am. So in order to set yet more ears aquiver in anticipation of my every exploit, I would like you, specifically you, to tell your friends about how utterly super I am. Now, according to the technical busybods of Rusty Quill, and trust me, their bods are very busy, if you tell a friend about us and they subscribe to my tales of chivalric daring, then when they send us an email to mail@rustyquill.com with their name and the person who recommended it, they will have an episode dedicated to them. Now, I've no idea what that means, but it sounds jolly lovely. Anyway, once you've done all of that, all you need to do is pop the cash in non-consecutive bills into an envelope and send it along. What? What do you mean they don't have to pay? Oh, I have literally never. Oh, you test me, sir. Fine. Well, recommend us to your friends and don't pay us and you still get your own episode. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have to have a serious chat with the underlings about the actual meaning of the word mercenary.
And welcome back. So, yeah, water's gushing from the tank holding the flesh golem. The water continues gushing, the cracks grow wider.
Zolf, can you do something about this?
Unless you can fill a tank full of more water, that's about all I can do.
The cracks spread, the tank shatters!
Oh, for goodness sake.
The water gushes out everywhere, and the flesh golem flops forward and just goes...
I mean, that is probably going to be quite expensive.
And then
It's going to be difficult to clear up.
Split a bit, and bits of it kind of spread across the
Oh,
floor.
it smells horrible.
And it smells vile.
I mean,
the stitch,
literally 2 days ago I was swimming around in poo, and that's worse.
the stitching comes undone from parts, and one of its arms drifts across the remaining water and just bumps up against the Everard statue.
Well, that's just grim.
You see Brutor reach out, sniff,
Brutor.
and recoil back beneath the Everard statue. It's all gone quiet. Is everybody dead?
Yes?
All the bad ones.
He sort of pokes his head in, and you just see the curator's face.
They smashed the jar.
Oh.
They were trying to smash us, though, so this is actually the better outcome.
Darn bandit lords and their jars smashing.
Another
Guys,
glorious victory for the House of MacGuffingham. I think this is a day that will live in memory
Infamy.
and song.
Definitely
and
infamy.
Song and memory.
The problem is, Bertie, is normally the damage isn't all to the property of your own family.
I mean, to be honest, it might live on in a dirty limerick. but-
Technically, actually, the way the donation system works, it's the property of the museum. It was a very generous. Where's the dog?
He's there under the statue. I point.
The curator just goes over, comes back. I am very sorry about your dog, Sir Bertrand, but in lieu of the payments that are already missing, in addition to the damages that have just been done, I mean, I very much appreciate all of your efforts to...
We saved your life.
I appreciate it, I do, but nonetheless, I mean,
If we hadn't stood it, these guys would have run amok.
No,
You'd
no,
have
no,
so
you
many people
misunderstand.
slaughtered.
If you hadn't stood here, they never would have come here in the first
To be
place.
fair, actually, although you couldn't afford any magical security, you could have maybe put the vase with the trap spirits of 4 bandit lords maybe in a glass case.
Now,
or something.
excuse me. I would rather you didn't speak to me in that tone. There was a velvet rope, and it was well signposted.
I think you may have a slightly skewed idea of what
Look,
security
Mr.
is, but...
Mr. Smith, if you will excuse me, he sort of tries to pull Bertie aside briefly. Forgive me, Sir Bertrand, but honestly, given the recent damages, our need for your payment is rather immediate. As it is, I mean, I'm going to have to bring in specialists just to clean up...
Bertie? Sounds like this guy's trying to extort money out of you.
How much would be the required sum?
Well, the MacGuffingham family is still contractually obliged for 1,000 gold donation in a quarterly payment, and that's not in addition to the damages. But you are quite right in that you did help to mitigate the disaster, so I suspect we could be able to just skimp on Mr. Carter's expedition and possibly redirect the funds, but it would still require at least the 4,000. I'm very sorry, Sir Bertrand. I don't know what to say.
What's the ramifications of not paying this?
Well, I want you to understand this isn't my choice, but breach of contract is technically a criminal matter. Now, we would not want, of course, that to reach that far. I mean, there's no need to, of course, the MacGuffingham family name. I mean, Mr. Smith, I don't think you quite understand it. I mean, this is but a drop in the pool for
excuse
Mr.
me, just one moment. Huddle.
We huddle. I huddle.
And
The curator goes,
Excuse me,
yeah,
one
shoo the
moment.
curator.
Certainly. He sort of, I was going to say he backs off. He just stands there crestfallen, occasionally squelching through what was left of a flesh
Breach of
golem.
contract's definitely not a criminal matter. It's civil at most,
Really?
legally speaking.
Well, there
They would
are
only be able,
Is this
to
gonna-
do is sue to recover their losses.
there are certain additional complications which I'm not at liberty to divulge. Needless to say, the consequences of even a civil pursuit of this matter would be really most grave.
Right, well, I've got 2,000 sitting around. I ain't spent it yet.
I have 1,000.
We need another 1,000 from someone.
Everyone give me a perception roll.
25.
Yep.
18 minus 1 is 17.
16.
19.
All of you notice this then. As you're having your discussion, two very nondescript figures step forward simultaneously through the double doors. They are both medium-sized gnomes wearing very sharp...
So medium size is a technical
Sorry,
term.
agreed.
I don't think you
No,
mean
that's
that.
a fair point. I mean, they are medium for gnomes, by which I mean of the
Average
small
height.
category. Average height is a better way of putting it. Incredibly nondescript gnomes, but in incredibly sharp suits. All black, every single layer, down to their shiny, shiny shoes, and their very, very sharp ties, with a single silver tie pin for each of them, with what looks like it may be a diamond. It's hard to tell at this distance. And they just stand there, survey the area, and then both of them simultaneously turn to Bertie and give a slight nod.
Who on earth were they?
They are gnomes. Now, you see, a gnome is a very small
Bertie,
man.
what would their profession be?
They are gnomes who wear suits and dark suits. Possibly they are artists' models or mannequins of some
Well,
kind.
they just wandered into a museum and nodded sinisterly at
They've
me.
Well-
been following you about for a while, Bertie. I keep seeing them around.
nothing-
Any accusation that I am being followed by gnomes is
Are
a
they
sign of extreme
lawyers?
The
paranoia.
gnomes then proceed to walk towards your group.
They're
The
lawyers,
curator
aren't they?
looks confused but doesn't really stop them.
Nothing to be ashamed of if you're being followed by people, but just tell us.
They're
Oh, goodness
Something
me, is
about-
that the time? Look, a bee!
At which point they are upon you and in unison, "Good afternoon, Sir Bertrand. It is a pleasure, as always. We understand there has been some damages to the museum exhibit. That does seem a great shame. Can we be of assistance to your cell?"
Yes, well, of course, now these things, these damages were, of course, accrued and accumulated in the pursuit of noble glory for the House of MacGuffingham. This is simply collateral damage. Look at it. Things, they fall over in the heat of combat, you know, when the blood is up.
Would you have said that there would have been imminent danger to any of those present should you have not intervened?
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely,
Danger of the
definitely.
most mortal and
There were-
perilous kind.
There were
Show
skeletons.
them the wound, Bertie. They
Look,
wounded you.
Look here! And at this point, Bertie lifts up his armour, like, woo! I mean, look, spring break! And he's got, like, huge wounds.
Wait, so as he lifts it, it goes above his head, catches his helmet, and his helmet is just balanced on top of his cuirass as he extends to about 8 foot tall. Just,
The gnomes sort of look at each other and turn back. That would count in your favour.
I'm bleeding, like, really, like, lots, like, loads. And then Bertie at that point, like, wipes some blood onto his hand and says, look at this! And then rubs it on the gnome. Loads! This is loads of blood!
The gnome that you wiped blood on reaches out, takes a hanky and slowly dabs itself down. They then turn simultaneously to Sasha. Would you consider yourself a damsel in distress?
Really damselly, look at her. I mean, you know, there's this leather jacket
If you will excuse us, Sir Bertrand, would you consider yourself a damsel in distress?
I mean, not generally. I'm totally. I am. Have you not seen how ladylike I am? I am distressed right now. There's nothing that distresses
what are you,
me
the fairy tale police?
more
What is this?
than lawyers. I mean, skeletons. I mean, lawyers. I mean, skeletons.
Clearly driven delirious by her traumatic experience. You know how damsels are, you know, it's all of the cinching.
You will allow us to confer. They step aside and just turn their backs to you and briefly are having a conversation.
Counter huddle.
What's a damsel?
Are they lawyers? They are lawyers. They're very lawyers.
Our greatest foe yet.
Why do lawyers need to know if I'm a damsel?
Do you owe them money?
I'm unfortunately not at liberty to disclose under the terms of a thing that I cannot disclose. Any terms that may or may not be disclosed at any stage. There's no disclosing.
Are you on a list?
I cannot possibly say, confirm or deny whether I am or am not on a list. I barely know what a list is.
At which point the two gnomes return. The curator by this point is going, "Look, now, I'm being patient, but frankly, if no one tells me what's going on..." At which point, in perfectly synchronised movements, the gnomes, one plucks a pen from its pocket, the other one plucks out a checkbook, the first one tears the check from the checkbook the other one is holding, like perfectly synchronised. They just write a check and hand it to the curator. "We think you will find that this covers all expenses and the in lieu payments which have grievously been overlooked by the MacGuffingham estate managers. We hope that this suits yourself." The curator sort of looks at it. "Oh, yes, I am, again, so sorry for the misunderstanding, and we will get someone in to clean this up right away. Thank you, as always. Your generosity is greatly appreciated, Sir Bertrand and friends. Yes, I am going to go, yes." And then he heads off.
Bertie, you have got the spookiest fairy godmother that I have ever encountered.
You should have met my real mother.
At which point, the gnomes, again, imperfectly synchronised, pocketing all of their items. "So, Sir Bertrand, it behooves us to tell you that all previous actions are now considered nullified by the advance payment that has had to be made. Pray that you make sure that you meet your terms." And then without another word, they reverse, and they walk out, take a left, and you just hear them fading away.
Well, that was deeply unsettling.
That was worse than being, exploded that time.
Well, it all seems to
when
be
I was
sorted and
exploded?
over now. There's no need to talk about this any further. I consider the matter settled and resolved. Thank you very much for your cooperation, gentlemen and lady.
Bertie, as your employer, is this going to impact your ability to work for me?
I feel like, we've met Sasha's maybe slightly evil family. Zolf has this weird ring that he doesn't want to talk about.
Yeah, a lot of people have weird rings.
Bertie has these mysterious lawyers.
Some of us don't have them anymore.
I
and
should
that's
probably
fine.
just say right now, I got kicked out of university, because then it won't be a surprise when it somehow comes along very soon.
Okay.
Maybe.
Well, we've all got a dark
What were you
past.
kicked
Hamid.
out for?
I don't want to talk about it.
So that's... I'm glad we've now established we all have some sort of dark secret which we're keeping.
I don't have a dark secret at all. Look, a distraction.
Yeah.
Nice try, Bertie.
Yeah.
I just feel like I should share, because
No,
all of
that's
you,
fair enough.
with things.
Well, it's you can fit in and be popular. That's not a problem.
In all seriousness, Bertie, is this going to have an effect on your ability to work for us?
No.
Do you have any commitments that you're going to have to attend to?
Well, the pursuit of glory is a transcendent goal which will have no impact whatsoever. Seen through this mission to completion.
So what do you need to get out from under their thumb? What do they want from you?
What thumbs? I don't even know what thumbs are.
They're the things on the end of your hands.
Look, a distraction.
Still not working.
Maybe we should just move on. There's things we all don't want to talk about.
Sure, at some point we can all get ice cream and share. Right, what's
Never
next
had
on the
ice cream.
list? Really?
I mean, they don't really do it in other London. We got
Not even rat flavoured?
dirty ice. No. You can get like strawberry, but I think it's blood.
I mean, what a grisly detail about the place you grew up in.
Moving on.
Hamid, where to next?
The bank, I suppose.
We probably should.
That's where your nice family hangs out, right? The ones that were so lovely to us.
Yes, I feel like with all the friends we're making in London, we might not wrap this bit up and get to Paris soon. So
Yeah, I've got mates in Paris. Wait, I mean, it'll be fine in Paris.
no, we heard about that bit.
Yeah.
There's that bloke that is a brother you're in love with. I don't know, something. Anyway, shall we?
Too many low
Best
charisma
of
characters.
9 charisma! Yeah!
And the only one we missed. To spell for listeners, I watched the 2 low charisma characters both try to high five and just miss. Just.
It wasn't a good miss. It was one of those really lame ones where you kind of just rub hands.
Yeah.
Surely high-fiving is dex based, not charisma. Though.
True.
No, it's definitely confidence. Also, mine's 8, not 9.
So,
Oh, fair enough.
moving on. Presumably, you guys head off.
To the bank.
Yes, to the bank.
Okay. You head out and you start heading down the stairs. At first, you realise that you're trailing a little bit of flesh golem down the stairs, but
Oh, like toilet paper stuck in your shoe.
Maybe it would be best to go
Ugh.
and clean up and have a meal before we go to the bank. I mean, it's going to be open for a few more hours yet.
Well, you can press the digitize us, can't you?
I'm bleeding quite heavily. I'm
Oh,
not sure
sorry
that
about
can be
that.
precipitated.
I will convert advanced scurvy into a healing spell.
Ooh, lemons.
Scurvy.
healing
Yeah.
in 4.
No, it's D8 plus 1 because it's a level 1
Yeah.
spell I'm converting.
So,
9!
So you're healed for 9 hit points.
so I'm up to 20.
So as you are heading out, the curator is sort of coming out from a back office, and he's all smiles again, and again runs over. Again, before you go, thank you so much. I appreciate that it was quite the misunderstanding, and the generosity of the MacGuffinghams. The fact that we get to finally make the extension to the MacGuffingham wing. Honestly, we did not expect such generosity. Oh, like father, like son, like father. I hesitate to ask, but given that you prove yourselves quite capable, I have to confess, I was having a little bit of a listen. Did you mention that you were heading to Paris at any point?
Probably, yeah.
Right.
Paris is
Maybe.
indeed on the
Who
itinerary.
wants to know?
Well, I have to say that, quite frankly, we have something of a valuable nature, and given that, to be blunt, Sir Bertrand, you will be travelling quite well, significantly better than I must say any courier would. I was wondering if you would be able to deliver a small delivery for us.
Oh, right, certainly, of course.
I greatly appreciate this. He pulls over a scroll. You see the ordinators, they developed the Rosetta program, which we believe may actually be able to finally break the hieroglyphics. It's all very exciting, you see.
Goodness.
And we've got a sample sheet in here. And if you happen to be passing by, then I would greatly appreciate it if you could deliver it. I mean, we have copies, don't worry, it's not an original. But if you're heading that way anyway, frankly, we could do with saving the cash where we can. I mean, especially if we're expanding the MacGuffingham wing.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Oh, yes, of course. No, it would be an absolute pleasure. Where does it need to be taken? Could you possibly provide me with the address?
Oh yes, it's all there on the capsule. Feel free to peruse it at your
Excellent, thank you.
Well, again, thank you. I realise it was a bit of a shame that we lost some exhibits, but certainly with this we'll be able to arrange some more.
Would you like us to speak to the press at all
Oh,
about what happened?
I can quite happily make a statement. Is there anything that you'd rather I didn't catch all of the surnames, you see. If you'd rather.
No. Well, actually, you can say that it was the. Oh, darn. We haven't got a name yet.
Not really one for branding.
The mighty MacGuffinghams.
I know.
No.
Right. Okay. Yes.
No.
Oh, right.
Quick, guys. Can I make a marketing roll?
You've got 3 seconds between you. You ready? 3, 2.
The Mighty Morphing Mercenary
One.
Rangers.
No.
No.
The Rangers.
The
London
Ra-
Rangers.
the London Rangers.
No.
You have crossed. I've got Rangers. That's what I've got.
Rangers. All right, that'll do.
Zolf's Rangers.
Zolf Rangers, really?
But yes, it was Hamid al-Tahan.
Oh, al-Tahan. Oh, al-Tahan. Oh, goodness me.
Probably should have been harassing him for money.
My, how you? I haven't seen this Hamid. Oh my! Oh, you're Hamid. Last time I saw you a big.
He still is. Yes.
Ha ha ha.
I'm just having some fun. Hey, I'm short too.
Right. Well, I can
look
be
up
sure
at you
to.
with a glare.
I can be sure to sort all this for you. Right. Well,
Do you have a wing as well, Hamid?
The al-Tahan's probably own the building.
Now, we are, of course, about to head off on some perilous adventures across the continent and indeed beyond.
well,
Perilous
how
realms.
so perilous? I feel like I might be having to take my capsule back.
No, Paris isn't the perilous bit.
Paris isn't perilous, but the perilous bit's post-Paris.
Yeah.
Post-Paris.
Oh, of course, that's
yes,
perfect.
there is
Post-Paris.
post-Paris peril.
Perilous. Perilous.
So, I was...
Potentially.
Potential post-Paris peril. That's pretty much it.
I'm so sorry, Sir Bertrand. You were saying.
I apologise for them. And, no,
That is a first.
yes, isn't it just? Well, of course, and as I am carrying the MacGuffingham name throughout the world, through this realm, further realms beyond this very sphere of experience, saving the world, perhaps, just throwing that idea out there, I wondered perhaps if there is anything from the MacGuffingham collection that might be taken out on loan, perhaps something of my ancestors that might spur me on in my quest to offer succor and assistance in these difficult times, adventuring sallying forth once again, burnishing the name.
Sallying, yes. Give me a pomp and pageantry diplomacy check.
13.
13.
Yeah.
Then, in which case, the curator looks at you, kind of looks confused for a moment and goes, Again, I appreciate your situation. We could certainly arrange for you to purchase one of your ex-family heirlooms at a discount, but we wouldn't be able to part with something necessarily. What I would say is we would be able to offer you a very fair price for anything you brought back from your own adventures.
Oh, I seem to remember earlier as part of the tour, Nefertiti's cap.
The shawl, yeah.
The shawl, I'm terribly sorry. Not much with the fancy female folder on, you see. And it was my recollection that if one was to put it on, that one would gain a second soul. Is that?
That's a gross oversimplification, but carry on.
Well, I am the layest of persons. So, if I were to perhaps acquire that and put it on...
You
No, Bertie.
most likely die.
That would be a very
yes.
bad idea.
I
Very
think
bad.
it was a 50-50 between losing your soul and getting some more. So.
I cannot condone a death on these premises. As it is, I've already had to deal with almost deaths. I think that's quite enough. I appreciate you very much. It's very clear he's starting to usher Bertie slowly out of the building. Again, we appreciate your
Come on, Bertie,
your
let's
patronage
go
as
and get some
always.
lunch.
And naturally, your friends are perfectly welcome. We do
we
hope
could-
that you can.
Always pop it on in the gardens, he says to the closed door.
Damn.
Well, given that you save so much money, I might be able to buy you something nice.
Gift shop's probably closed.
And we'll use that to assume you're heading on to the bank, right?
Yay.
After lunch.
At which point then, let's call it there. We've had a good session, and I think we're going to end it there, and we will rejoin everyone next week.
I
Bye-bye.
pressed to digitate everyone clean.
Oh,
you
and
don't
here's me
wanna-
hoping you were traipsing through London stinking of 100-year-old dead flesh.
And we don't want to end an episode dirty.
Right, well, thanks from everyone, and I look forward to meeting you all again next week. Bye!
Bye.
Rusty Quill Gaming is a podcast distributed by rustyquill.com and licensed under a Creative Commons Attribution Non-Commercial International License. Today's episode was recorded and produced by Alexander J. Newall. To comment on episodes, make donations, and view links, images, videos, and show notes, visit rustyquill.com. Rate and review us on iTunes. Visit us on Facebook. Tweet us on Twitter at @TheRustyQuill, or email us at mail@rustyquill.com. Thanks for listening.
Square,
We
a
released
triangle.
those those French bandits from that thing you knocked
think
on
it
earlier?
may have
Is
been.
that what
The
we
first
found?
form that emerges to the left of the enormous tank full of flesh golems
Is David Bowie?
is David Bowie.
Is it 4 David Bowies in different guises?
I
Yeah,
refuse to attack them.
It's the different ages of Bowie. One of them's got very glammed up, another one's very understated, but quite pushing it. Anyway,
One is just the Goblin King.
One's the very old one that looks like Tilda Swinton.
Yeah.
Wow, he does.
so anyway, it coalesces. This is meant to be a scary moment, honestly. It coalesces.
I would be scared. The reason I just got really excited is because I've taken advanced scurvy, which causes bone pain.
I thought you were going to say something like disrupt undead.
No,
bone
pain.
So did I.
They're like, oh, that's a bit achy.
Ooh,
Oh.
I've just got out of the vase. Ooh. I've got pins and needles in my bones.
10,000 years in a lamp can give you such a crick in
in
the
the
neck.
So now your hand is locked at a kind of really, really abrupt wrist angle, making it really difficult for you to basically wield your sword
Like
until
a
you take.
T-Rex
Yeah.
trying to use a typewriter.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a very specific reference, but yes.
Okay.
And it will remain that way until the end of the combat, at which point you can sort of undo that strap and sort yourself out.
Right.
That was one for all the cold-blooded members of our audience.
Zolf.
Or cold-blooded for our US listeners.
It was count-blooded.
That's for our Swedish listeners.
Yes.
Sorry, I'm sorry, everyone.
That's okay. Jim Henson did it, which means it's okay.
Okay.
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 Which means it's okay.
Okay.